Have you ever had a single moment, just one glimpse, that changed everything you thought you knew about yourself? A moment so unexpected, so unsettling, that it shatters the version of you that you've been holding onto for years. That's what happened to me one stormy night in Connecticut. My name is Laura Carter, and this is a story I never imagined I'd tell. It's a story of loneliness, temptation, and the kind of choices that leave scars long after the moment has passed. The rain that night was merciless, hammering the roof of our two-story colonial house like it wanted to break through. I remember standing frozen at my bedroom door, my hand trembling on the knob, my heart beating so loud I swore it echoed down the hallway. I wasn't scared of the storm. I was scared of what I'd seen, of what I couldn't unsee. From the outside, my life looked perfect. My husband Michael was a successful financial consultant, the kind of man who wore tailored suits and kept his schedule tighter than his smiles. Our house sat on a quiet street lined with hydrangeas, the picture of suburban charm. Neighbors saw us as stable, accomplished, the American dream couple. But behind closed doors, our home was a museum of distance. Michael and I coexisted more than we connected. His affection had faded into polite routine. His touches were obligatory, like checking off a list. And me. I had become invisible. I was 38 years old, still attractive by most standards, but when no one sees you, beauty feels like a cruel trick. I filled my days with yoga classes, errands, and cooking elaborate dinners that Michael barely noticed. I smiled when people expected me to smile. I kept the house spotless because perfection was the only thing I had control over. But inside, I was starving for warmth, for attention, for someone to simply notice I existed. Then came Ethan. He was Michael's son from his first marriage. 19, quiet, with dark hair that fell into his eyes. I had only met him a handful of times before he moved in last spring, but suddenly he was under our roof full time. Michael never asked if I was ready for that, never wondered how it might affect me. He just said, he'll stay in the guest room. And that was that. At first, Ethan was polite but guarded. He mumbled thanks at dinner, shrugged when I asked about his community college classes, and often kept to himself. But there was something in his gaze, an intensity that I couldn't name. Sometimes I'd catch him watching me in the kitchen, his eyes lingering a moment too long before darting away. I told myself it was nothing, that I was imagining it. But the truth was, I noticed. And once you notice something like that, you can't unnotice it. Everything unraveled one Tuesday night. I came home earlier than expected because my book club had been cancelled. Michael was away, as usual, at yet another conference in Chicago. The house was dark except for the faint glow spilling from Ethan's room upstairs. I moved quietly, almost cautiously, as though the house itself was holding its breath. That's when I heard it, a sound from behind Ethan's half-closed door. A sound private, rhythmic. I should have turned away. I should have walked straight to my room and shut the door. But I didn't. My feet betrayed me, and I looked. Just for a second. And in that second, my world tilted. Ethan was on his bed, the glow of his laptop screen across his face. But it wasn't just what he was doing. It was what he was watching. It was me. A video I had almost forgotten existed, an old recording from years ago, back when Michael and I still knew what it meant to love each other. I thought that video was long gone, deleted from some old hard drive. But there it was, alive on Ethan's screen, and he was watching me. Watching me in a way I hadn't been watched in years. I stumbled back into my room, my chest tight, my thoughts screaming. Why that video? How had he found it? Did he know I saw? Did he want me to see? I should have been furious, horrified. And I was. But underneath, buried in shame, was something else. Something I didn't want to admit. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Desired. And it terrified me. The next morning, I acted like nothing happened. I poured coffee, asked Ethan if he wanted toast, forcing my smile to hide the storm inside me. He looked at me for just a second before his gaze slipped away. And that second was enough. Enough to confirm that I wasn't imagining the pull between us. Days passed, and everything shifted. His glances grew longer. My steps slowed in the kitchen, lingering in the hope he'd stay. I told myself I wasn't encouraging it, but I knew the truth. I let my robe hang a little looser. I wore clothes that reminded me I was still a woman, not just someone's forgotten wife. And every time Ethan's eyes met mine, something inside me stirred. It built slowly. A brush of fingers when he helped me carry groceries. A note slipped under my sugar bowl that read, "You deserve to be felt, not just seen." A sketch I found in his notebook of me, drawn softly, tenderly, as though he was capturing a version of me I didn't even recognize anymore. All of it dangerous. All of it wrong. But all of it making me feel alive. The breaking point came during a stormy night when the power went out. Candles flickered, shadows danced, and for once, silence didn't feel like distance, it felt like closeness. Ethan sat across from me on the floor, his voice low as we talked about fears and childhood memories. Then I asked him the question that had haunted me since that night. Why that video? His answer pierced me. Because it's the only time I saw you being loved. In that moment, everything inside me broke, the years of loneliness, the ache of invisibility, the hunger I had buried. When his hand touched mine, I didn't pull away. And when he leaned closer, waiting for me to stop him, I didn't. I kissed him back. What happened after that changed everything. It wasn't reckless. It wasn't hurried. It was soft, fragile, full of the emotions I had forgotten I was capable of feeling. For the first time in years, I felt alive, desired, known. But when the morning came, reality hit like a storm of its own. I couldn't face him. I couldn't face myself. The days that followed were a blur of silence and guilt. Ethan's eyes carried a hurt I didn't know how to heal. Michael returned home, oblivious to the fracture in his family. And me. I moved through the house like a ghost, haunted by what I'd done and what I couldn't undo. This isn't a story with a neat ending. It's a story about choices, about loneliness, about how easy it is to lose yourself when you've been invisible for too long. I'm not here to justify what happened. I'm here to admit it. Because sometimes, the lines we think we'll never cross aren't as solid as we believe. So, was I wrong? Was I human? Or was I both? That's my story. And maybe it's a reminder that loneliness is powerful, it can break you, it can remake you, and sometimes, it can push you to places you never thought you'd go. If this story made you think, if it stirred something inside you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who might relate, and subscribe for more real, raw stories that dive into the messy truths of the human heart.